Hi, Alex. Thanks very much for taking the time to chat. Just as a little background for listeners, you're Alex Woodman, pro-triathlete. We
Yeah,
met a few weeks ago on a dinner with other triathletes in Dorset on a train, or I was on a training weekend, and you came to sort of join in with the dinner afterwards.
yeah,
We talked a lot about nutrition and health, and I was very drawn to not only the fact that you're very knowledgeable, you were very holistic in your approach. You've also had a really interesting, I thought, career path from degree in human biology to running your own cafe to now, obviously now being a pro triathlete.
yeah,
So really what I'd hope we do today is just delve a little bit deeper into that, and particularly on nutrition, how it supports you, your training, and your overall health.
yeah,
So maybe we can just start. Tell me a little bit more about your career path, and how you did get to where you are.
yeah. Well, thanks for having me on this chat. So my career path is probably not the standard career path. I went to uni for yeah. Initially went to uni to study mechanical engineering, but really wasn't enjoying it, and just knew that's not something I wanted to do. And I always had a swimming as a kid. I always had sort of an interest in my health and fitness. So human biology was my next choice, which I got a 2-1. So graduated back in 2016, I think it was. From there, I was working in a cafe just part time, sort of pay the bills a little bit, and I ended up managing that cafe. I worked there for a few years, managed it, and Sarah, my partner, we decided to open a cafe together down in Dorset. Just sort of, it was a natural progression really from what I'd been doing, and so we ran that for 3 years, and then I started triathlon whilst we had the cafe. Sarah sort of got me into it a little bit. So
She was in triathlon before you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
she started it. I want to say sort of 6 years ago, I guess. And she was doing it. She was coached by Fran. So that's the person. That's how we met, wasn't it, at the dinner?
Yeah.
And yeah, she basically, I just saw what she was doing. It looked like good fun.
Mm.
I never took it that seriously at the start, but eventually just got better and better, and yeah, put all my time into it. So.
Okay. So what made you make the choice to become pro? You obviously must have had an affinity for it, and there's some natural talent to, over a moderately short space of time to go from
Yeah,
swimmer to being pro. And
um,
it's 70.3 you do, isn't it? Is that a half Ironman? Is that your preferred?
yeah, I've done a lot of 70.3s, but I'd say I'm a bit better at the longer distance. I've
Okay.
done 3 of those now, and my best results have been from the long distance, so for Ironman.
Yeah.
But yeah, why I got into it? I think my personality is very all or nothing. So when I set
Okay.
my
Okay.
mind,
Quite triathlete
yeah,
then.
when I set my mind to something, it's basically I've got to do it. So I
Okay.
set my mind to it, and yeah, that's that.
And which is your best discipline, do you think now? Or are you quite even across the board?
Probably swimming still my
Yeah.
best. Yeah, swimming as a kid. When you learn it from such a young age, it's yeah, the technique just comes
Still,
naturally.
yeah, yeah.
And then biking, and then the running's a work in progress, but
Okay.
we're getting there slowly.
And am I right in thinking your cafe was a vegetarian cafe and you used to be vegetarian,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
now you have moved to eating animal products again, which
that's
is
it. Yeah.
interesting. Do you want to expand a little bit on why you went to eating animal again and how you've sort of what differences you've noticed in perhaps yourself in sport, performance-wise?
Yeah. So yeah, I was vegetarian for four years, I want to say.
Hmm.
So the whole time we had the cafe, obviously it was a vegetarian cafe, so we were both vegetarian then. And then as I got a bit more serious into triathlon, sort of the year after we closed, that's when I started eating meat because I just felt like I was just missing something
Hmm.
with regards to recovery. And so eating meat and yeah, sort of a few organ meats as well. Really noticed the difference, to be fair.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And energy and recovery and all
just
aspects.
recovery, really. Yeah, just
Recovery,
felt
yeah.
like I was recovering a lot
Yeah.
quicker from the sessions and everything.
So one of the other things we talked about was sort of blood testing, and if you remember, I do sort of quite a lot of functional blood chemistry testing. When you moved, before you moved, I guess, when you sort of were thinking about it, did you do any blood tests on yourself, or do you test now to
No,
assess
that's
anything?
yeah, it's having the conversation we had a few weeks ago. It's definitely something I want to look
Yeah.
into because I've heard a lot about it, and you're just guessing basically. If you're not testing, you're just sort of playing a guessing game, aren't you?
Yeah. So do you take any supplements or?
Yeah, yeah. I take a life extension multivitamin,
Yeah.
sort of cover my bases, but if you're not testing, you don't really
You're
know.
guessing, yeah. Vitamin
Yeah,
D would be the big one I would also be thinking as well.
yeah. I take a vitamin D and K2 drops, so I
Okay,
take them
good.
every day. It's quite
Yeah.
a high dose, I think, like 10,000 units of vitamin D, and then I take iron as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
iron bisglycinate, I think it is.
Okay.
So
Yeah, but you
yeah.
don't test your iron levels to see if
No,
you need that
no,
or
but
not.
I think
No.
my sort of reasoning was I was vegetarian for quite a few years, so I
Hmm.
probably had been lacking a bit of iron, so that was the reasoning behind it.
Okay.
But yeah, some testing is probably the next
Yeah,
step.
because I mean, too much of anything, too much iron is oxidative, which I know you knew because I think we did talk about that. So yeah, it is good if you can personalize, and even too much vitamin D is also can be harmful.
Yeah, yeah, everything. What's the saying? The dose is in, or the dose is, the poison is in the dose, or the dose is in the poison,
Yes.
something like that. Because
Yeah.
everything is toxic to some way at some point, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, as we said, you're predominantly middle distance at the minute. Is that what you're training for?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this year focusing on middle distance
Yeah.
just to sort of speed up a little bit, get a little bit more speed because I did a lot of Ironmans last year and the year before, well, 3 Ironmans, and I felt like the training you never really get quicker. You just sort of can go a bit longer. So this year I want to try and get a bit faster.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that. It's a different level to you. Do you want to tell a little bit more about how you fuel perhaps for racing? The other thing I'm interested in is I mean, it's probably the intensity you're racing, you may do it all on gels, but do you take in any solid foods in a race? And have you changed anything as you've learned over the years and what you do? Quite a few questions there.
Yeah, so the fueling, I don't take any solid foods. I haven't done that for any race really. One thing I do, which is a little bit probably less common, is just to buy powdered like sugar
Oh,
and mix that.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't use like a sports drink or anything. I just mix sugar with water really.
Okay.
And I don't really train with it that much, but I do that at all the races. I
Okay.
aim for about 100 grams an hour, depending on the distance. It might
Okay.
change.
So you have some with you that you'll top up in your bottles when you're
I'll make
race?
like two strong bottles and sort of have sips, and then just take water from the aid stations.
Okay. Okay.
So a bit not very conventional, but
If it works. Have you ever had any gut issues?
no, never,
Good, good.
no. Yeah, guts
You're
full.
doing something right then. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's yeah, not a conventional approach, that one.
No. And do you take electrolytes and things as well?
I usually just put a pinch of sea salt in the bottles.
Okay. So very simplistic. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I figure the less sort of additives and preservatives you
Yeah.
take in, the better.
Yeah.
I like the Morton products, to be fair,
Yeah. No, I agree.
because they don't have a lot of ingredients in them, which is usually a good thing. So
I think they're a lot more palatable as well. The texture of them is I personally find easier than a lot of the other gels.
yeah, and they tend to not cause too many problems down there. Yeah.
Yes. Um, the other thing that I really loved was your dog that we talked about. You've got a Riesler, is that right?
Yeah, got a
Yeah,
Vizsla. Yeah, he's just down here actually.
yeah, sure. I have a friend with a Vizsla, so I know a little bit about them. He's gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're very powerful dogs, aren't they? And am I right in thinking you run with him?
Yeah. So I run with him most days, really. So yeah, 4 times a week at the moment with
Okay.
him.
And does he just run alongside you? Have you trained him to do that?
Yeah, he just runs alongside. I let him off the lead sometimes, and if there's not too many people around, let him go for a
Yeah.
little jog. He never goes that far, thankfully. He always stays within sort of 20 meters, which is good.
Good.
Yeah,
Does he need a lot of exercise?
yeah, they do. Yeah,
Yeah.
twice a day, really. Twice a day minimum. So I usually take him out, throw the ball around for him, so he
Yeah.
gets a sprint going.
Okay.
Yeah, run with him sort of most days.
Nice.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. It was a big learning curve, to be fair, getting a dog. We didn't quite realize how much time and effort goes into it.
Yes. Yeah, like having a
Especially
child.
this kind of breed, like a hound sort of breed. They're very high energy and they need a lot of direction.
Yeah. How old is he now?
He's not even 2 yet, so he's
Okay, so that's still
one
young.
year, 10 months.
Okay.
Yeah, he actually was born on the same day as Sarah.
Oh,
Her birthday.
lovely. We also talked about going keto because I think you asked me my thoughts on that. Is it something you've tried to go keto?
Yeah.
What was your experience of it?
Yeah, I played around with keto probably 8 years ago, something like that, 7 years ago. I was doing the bulletproof coffee. Don't know
Okay.
if you've heard that.
Yeah, no, I have, yes.
Adding the coconut oil or MCT oil and butter and blending it up. And then I did pretty strict keto for maybe a year. This was sort of before I was doing triathlon. I was just working in the coffee shop, and I just did it for health purposes, really. Just to try it out and see what the effects were. But I I never really felt like it worked for me. I always had to do some sort of refeed with carbs.
Yeah.
Because it just felt quite draining on the body without any carbs.
It can, yeah. I think that is one of the. So I think ketogenic diet, there are some well-studied specific benefits. If you have a specific health condition, it can be useful, but it can
epilepsy,
epilepsy, absolutely, and certain cancers and various things. It's well episodes, not all of them. But yes, it can be quite an adrenal stress. And I think the people who do it, also coming back to blood testing, need to check lipid levels. Thyroid can also often be impacted. So I think you probably, it's almost, if someone is going to do it, cycling in and out can be quite a good way to do it if you're just doing it for general health and to try and improve metabolic flexibility, which I think is, as a triathlete, what we really want to be able to do is to be able to dip in and out, using glucose and fat, especially as an endurance athlete.
Anything sort of middle distance and over, you need to be good at oxidizing fat as a fuel, I think.
Yeah.
And you can do that through diet, I guess, and training also. Sort of training in that sort of upper zone 2 area. That's where your fat oxidation is greatest, when you're exercising.
Yes.
But like you were saying when we had the conversation a few weeks ago, as soon as you dip into the higher zones, your body needs to produce cortisol. If you don't have enough glycogen available,
yes, exactly.
your body produces cortisol, and that's sort of it's catabolic, isn't it?
It is, yes. And if people are doing that regularly, which is what I often see in practice, clients will come and they're doing a lot of faster training and not realizing that it's designed to be done in that zone where you said the higher upper 2. And actually they're quite fatigued. And it is an adrenal stressor. Yeah, just putting you in a catabolic state. So do you change what you do in different sort of triathlon seasons? How you eat?
I would say in the winter I do tend to eat a little like richer foods, sort of more fats in my diet. I think that's just naturally, really. You don't really I don't think about it too much. But in the summer, it's definitely higher carb, sort of fruits and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it just happens naturally, really.
Yeah,
Those seasons.
yeah.
Yeah.
Moving a little more holistically, you also do infrared sauna, is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you've got
right.
one at home.
Going at home,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So how long have you been doing that for?
I must have bought it 6 years ago,
Okay.
years ago maybe. Because I've listened to a lot of podcasts, like health podcasts, and done a lot of reading into the benefits of it. And as soon as I saw some of the scientific literature, it was quite amazing on the health benefits that it can produce. I thought I had to get one of these. I could just about afford it at the time. So I managed to scrape the money together and got it, and I've been using it ever since. So, yeah.
So do you time it after training or specific sessions, or how do you use it?
At the moment, I do weights twice a week, so like a strength training at home, and I'll just jump in it straight after for about 30 minutes. So 2 times a week for 30 minutes at the moment.
And do you notice, do you think it's probably quite hard to be objective about it, but an improvement in recovery from it?
Yeah, I would say it's tough to know, but it definitely feels like you get like an aerobic benefit from it. Sort of the day after, like training the next day feels a lot more aerobic. But it's quite subjective, but it feels like that. And some of the literature on sort of growth hormone and like the cardiovascular benefits is quite interesting. So I think that's why I stack it with the strength training. So you get the hormonal benefits from the strength training and the sauna sort of combined.
Yeah. So, no, there's a lot of science behind it. We have one at home that my husband uses, and I've recently started. So I shall, I'm interested to see how that benefits, amongst other things.
Yeah. Skin health is a big one as well. Your skin feels a lot softer if you use it regularly.
Yeah, and it's also, I find, really relaxing. So in terms of actually finding that stop and pause button, I find it a great tool. Yeah. Especially in the winter when it's like hard to warm up, and I go in and I just think, oh, that's it. Ready to nod off.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're sort of detached from the world for a little bit, aren't you? It's like it's sort of a meditative thing, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. So do you do other things such as, cold water exposure or showers or breath work?
Yeah, I've sort of played around with a lot of that. I was doing the sauna, then the ice sort of cold shower. I was doing that sort of in and out, and that feels quite rejuvenating, but also quite stressful on the body at the same time. If you're doing a lot of training as well as the cold, I find the two don't really mix too well.
Okay.
Because I think it does add an extra stress on the body that sometimes can maybe be a little bit too much if you're doing a lot of training.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been, there's a river near me which I sometimes jump in the winter as well, which gets pretty cold. Yeah, so I've played around with it a little bit.
Good. What about heart rate variability? Is that something you look at?
Yeah, I actually, when I was at uni doing human biology, I think it was in my second year or third year, I think the project was to come up with a public health initiative. So it would be something that you could, that was easy to do, and you could do it to a lot of people, and sort of a way of monitoring the health of the population. And I actually did it on HRV. So basically the variability between your heartbeats, isn't it? So the greater the variability, the sort of less stressed your nervous system is.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So, have you played around with it at all?
I have, yeah. So I've tried various things. I use with some of my clients first beat monitors, which is have you heard of those, where it's a device you attach, and I've got on really well with those, and you get very, very informative graphs, and it's can be really motivating to see actually what, you don't realize quite how stressed you can be in a day when your nervous system is like constantly on the go. So it's quite a good tool to get you to stop and to pause. I've tried Aura rings, but I don't get on with them. I literally couldn't sleep with it on, which is obviously counterproductive to the entire thing. So yes, I have. I haven't used it that much to guide my training. I've used it to guide my life more, as in what I'm doing when I'm not training, which I think, because I always think as your load on your body, your stress, it's not just your training load, it's what you're doing your entire day, how you're sleeping, what you're doing, if you've got family, work, whatever it is. And so that's where I use it to help adjust, to slow down.
I would say, going back to your point, I would say that the stress in your life outside of training is almost bigger than the training stress. You really got to take it all into account.
Yeah. So that's why I found it good.
Sorry, especially things like travel, and and work and things like that. They can really, affect you.
So what do you use to measure it with?
I did have an Aura ring I used that for quite a few years, to be honest, and it was good to track it, but I never really used it as a tool. Like it basically would just confirm how I already felt. So if I felt tired, if I knew I was a bit stressed, then it would just confirm it. So I just ended up not wearing it in the end, and
I'm gonna,
how I felt.
Yeah, I'm gonna make an educated guess that you're probably a lot more in tune with your body than many people. I would certainly people who are maybe some of my clients, but I think we have a tendency just to push, and it becomes our new normal, and we don't actually realize what we're doing. It's because we've just done it for so many years, and that we need to slow down. We don't even know what slowing down is sometimes, and I'm as guilty as anyone. But I'm trying to change. Yes.
I guess when you have a goal in mind, or you're working towards something, there's sort of other areas of your life sort of take a little bit of a hit, don't they? Whether it's work or whatever your goal is, and I think
so
it's quite easy to overdo things, isn't it?
Yeah. And do you feel you have the balance right? Or is it work in progress?
I'm not sure anyone does, do they? It's a tricky one, isn't it?
I think it's always moving. It's constantly moving.
Yeah, definitely. And doing triathlon, you're constantly juggling, obviously, 3 sports and then strength training, and then I work 2 days a week, and it's all a bit of a balancing act at the moment. But I feel like it's getting easier and easier. I think a routine is the big one.
Yeah.
If you just get in a routine, and you can tell when you're doing a little bit too much, because the sort of signs will be there.
Would you miss a training session if you were feeling?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, you would.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's sometimes you're doing more harm than good when it comes to training. So but it's difficult to tell, because you're on one side of the coin, you're asking yourself, am I being a bit weak-minded? And on the other side of the coin, is my body telling me I need to slow down? It's quite hard to decipher that sometimes.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Brilliant. So should we just end? Tell me, so just to finish off a little bit, what about your main races coming up this year? And have you got anything you're particularly looking forward to? Any big challenges that
funny you say challenges, because I'm mainly doing challenge races this year. So I'm doing this challenge Gran Canaria in April, so that'll be the first race. Challenge Wales, that's in June, I think. And there's a few other, maybe go to challenge, it's near Nice, just outside Nice, so maybe do that one I think that's July. And then do one full distance, challenge Almere.
Okay. So, yes. Okay.
That's the end of the year in September. So
is one of those your A races, or a couple of A races, or?
I think the main A race will be the full distance Almere, because it's actually the European long distance champs.
Yeah.
I'll probably aim to be peaking for that really.
Okay. Well,
So,
best of luck.
yeah, thank you. And
Yeah.
what about yourself? Which races have you got?
So race-wise, I've got 70.3 Nice in June. I've got one in Greece in October, and I may try and do a later season one. I can't, unfortunately, do Challenge Peguera, which
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
like
that's
to
what
drive,
I'm doing.
do with Fran quite a few years,
Yeah,
because that clashes with the Greece one. And I've already booked it and booked my flights. So, but lots of this is quite a few. I'm working on my swimming, which is my big weakness, and having gone from swimming, being set 3 swims to probably doing 2 swims, I'm now swimming 5 times a week. I am
yeah, I remember you
determined
saying
this
that.
year. Yeah, this I'm going to crack this, but make progress, significant progress this year.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
have many adventures booked to help my enjoyment of swimming, which I think is a big factor for me.
yeah,
And then,
yeah. I
yeah.
think a lot of enjoyment I find from swimming comes from swimming with other people. So doing like a masters swim squad,
Okay.
I really enjoy that, and also open water swimming is a good one.
Yes.
If
Here,
you,
where it's warmer, I'm with you.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Otherwise, it's like the cold therapy.
Yes, yes, I am determined to get in quite early this year, to start working on that as well. Uh,
Mm.
but yeah,
I
so
had I had a goal. I think 2 winters ago. I was gonna keep because I did a lot of sea swimming that summer, and my goal was to keep swimming in the sea throughout the whole winter. And I made it to about November, and then
okay.
I packed it in because I
With,
thought,
with a wetsuit or without a wetsuit?
yeah, with a
With
wetsuit.
a wetsuit,
So
yeah.
it's not easy. It's
No.
pretty tough. I think mainly I find it's because I was doing it in the sea. It was mainly the waves and the wind, and yeah, just not the most fun.
Yeah. I was in Cornwall for Christmas this year, and I did go in the sea on Christmas Day, not to swim. There was very huge waves, but I did go in, and I tell you, I lasted 30 seconds. My son went in without a wetsuit and appeared to love it. But yeah, it's definitely it's very invigorating. I'll certainly say that.
Yeah,
Feel
yeah.
alive when you
It'd
come
be
out.
it'd be interesting to do some blood testing just before and just after.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
See
definitely.
all the different things going on in the
Yeah,
body. Yeah, I think your adrenaline definitely spikes a lot, doesn't it?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
in the cold, probably it's probably there's some sort of response there. I think heat shock proteins or something like that. So yeah,
Yeah, so in terms of blood sugar, which is another sort of area that I have monitored, I'm not at the minute, but yeah, sort of an adrenaline response too regularly is not going to be good for your blood sugar. But I think the longer term, if you're doing it for a short period, it should come down quickly. And
yeah,
certainly the long-term health benefits appropriately, I think, always listening to your body.
yeah.
Um,
It's sort of what is the term hormesis, where
yes.
you put a stress on the body, like training or cold,
Mm,
even sauna, I think is a little bit of a stress. And then your body has to recover and adapts back stronger, doesn't it?
exactly.
I think.
Yes. Yeah. But it's finding that the appropriate stress response, isn't it? Which it's not always
Yeah,
easy to tell.
yeah,
So yeah. Brilliant. Well, Alex, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It's been lovely to chat to you.
yeah,
And I wish you best of luck with everything this year.
yeah. And the same goes to you.
Oh,
Thank you very
thank
much. It's
you.
been an interesting chat.
Sure.
Yeah, see you soon.
See you soon, Alex.